What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another Western Europe Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the Southern Tier Brewing Company, and they are out of Lakewood, New York, and this is their French Toast. So they're calling this one an Imperial Ale, and on the label here it says ale with a natural flavor, and right underneath it, it says made with milk sugar, aka lactose. It comes in at 8.6% alcohol by volume, 25 IBUs at the time of review. This bottle is approximately 1 month old. So this is one of two new winter seasonals from Southern Tier. The other one is their peanut butter cup, which is I think it's like a 10% imperial stout with peanut butter, I'd imagine. I don't know. It probably just has natural flavors as well. Now, both of them did show up here in the Buffalo, New York area, although I was only able to grab a single of this beer and not the peanut butter cup. They were sold in 4-packs, but my local Wegmans grocery store, this beer was in their mix 6 section, so I picked up a bottle, and once I can get a single of the peanut butter cup, I will be reviewing that as well. Now, what I find funny about this beer is that it seems as though Southern Tier has an 8.6% ABV kind of recipe for some of these pastry ales. They, a couple years ago, released their Salted Caramel Imperial Ale, 8.6% ABV. 2021, they released their Frosted Sugar Cookie Ale, their Imperial Ale, 8.6% ABV. Pumpkin, 8.6% ABV. So it seems they have a base for these, and then they just, throw adjuncts or natural flavors in it and kind of change it around, although I think Pumpkin is probably the original base for all of them. So anyway, they do have a spiel on the side that hopefully we'll remember to read. Sometimes I don't, but it does have tasting notes. I kind of don't want to look at those, but we'll see if this is good. When I reviewed that Salted Caramel beer a couple years ago, it was good. It definitely was. It was kind of exactly what they said it was, so I couldn't really complain. Although a beer like this, you think that they would be like an Imperial Stout, kind of like the peanut butter cup beer, but it's just an Imperial Ale. Now, we'll see. Anyway, I liked it that. I really did enjoy that Salted Caramel Imperial Ale from Southern Tier a couple years ago. So I'm hoping that this one is good and kind of hits the French toast flavors. There's a lot of breweries releasing like French toast beers. You had Founders releasing their French Toast Bastard. You had Left Hand doing their French Toast Milk Stout. So I don't know, it must be the year of French toast beers. Anyway, so yeah, that pours out like a kind of like a Scotch ale or something. It has this really nice like orange red, almost ruby red kind of color. Approaching that, maybe not as ruby red. Rust color we'll go with. Had about a finger of a lightly tanned colored head that is now dissipated to about a half finger, maybe a touch under. Decent carbonation. This does not have an etching at the bottom, but it still has pretty good carbonation. So yeah, I would say it plays the role of a French Toast Imperial Ale. Sure, it's good nose. Okay, that is fucking absurd. It smells awesome. Natural flavors are not, and I don't know when you're going to see this other review, but I did Fruitful IPA from Victory. You might see it a day or two before this. But I kind of railed on natural flavors because you see so many breweries using it. The aforementioned not Victory, Left Hand. They do that a lot with their milk stout now variants. Even Founders does the extracts. All right, the extracts not quite natural flavors, but you know what I mean. Like you don't see a lot of just regular ingredients. This natural flavor, what does that mean exactly? I would love to know what that means. What kind of natural flavor did you put in here? But yeah, it's cinnamon, it's maple syrup, and it smells pretty sweet. Almost has a buttery kind of sweetness, and butter in beer, not ideal. That's an off flavor. But this just seems like it's like you have a slice or two of French toast in front of you. It has butter on it, has maple syrup. Someone sprinkled some cinnamon on top, or cinnamon was in the French toast itself, and you just sprinkle powdered sugar on top of it. Like it's all there. Yeah, this is a condensed French toast into an almost 9% Imperial Ale. It's insane. I mean, this is one of those reviews where it's like, I'm not getting things in stages. I'm not getting a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's French toast condensed into the glass. It smells fucking awesome. If it tastes like this, but not like overly sweet, I think I'm gonna love it. I have a feeling though it'll probably be pretty sweet. I don't know. We'll see. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Pretty fucking good. It really is pretty good. I will say though, I can tell you right now, is not necessarily the sweetness. That's going to kind of lose me by the end of this bottle. It's the richness to this beer. Because, put it this way, listen, in theory, does a French toast beer sound appeasing if you were in the mood for like a pastry beer? Let's say you wanted a sweeter beer. You're in the mood for a nightcap, and you're like, I want something kind of sweet. Replace my dessert with a beer. French toast sounds like a great time. But the problem with this is I know about halfway through this bottle, maybe 2/3 of the way through this bottle, I'm going to be like, yeah, it's too much of a good thing. Cut it out, right? Like, that's what's going to happen. But anyway, body mouthfeel. Mine, this is like higher side of medium, maybe lower side of full. 8.6% is appropriate. What I appreciate and what I didn't want from this is like a thick syrupy kind of feeling. Although maybe it would kind of work and what maybe you would expect for something like this. I don't personally want that. I want it to be a little bit more drinkable. So while it has a decent, appropriate body, it's not too much for me. The mouthfeel, decent carbonation. I would say like almost moderately carbonated. There's a nice smoothness on the palate, but it's not like overly creamy or anything like that. But yeah, body's nice, mouthfeel's nice. The taste, I mean, again, it's one of those beers where I a lot of times I'll start, okay, front of the palate, mid palate, back of the palate. You know, what kind of characteristics am I getting? How does it finish? Dry, bitter, this, that, and the other. The easiest way I can explain this beer, without going too far into crazy detail that I don't think anybody really wants that kind of detail. I don't even want it, and I talk a lot. This is a French toast beer. It has French toast flavors from maple syrup to cinnamon to like a bready kind of almost like, it's almost like you just, the feeling on the palate is like you just got done eating a piece of French toast with butter and cinnamon and maple syrup and powdered sugar on it. That's what this tastes like. It's crazy. It's sweet, but I don't think it's crazy sweet. Like I've had much sweeter beers. I mean, like that frosted sugar cookie. That was like a frosted sugar cookie, 100%. A lot of people said like vanilla cream ale, but that was really sweet compared to this, in my opinion. This does the flavors extremely well without an overbearing sweetness. But I've already taken, what, like maybe 4 sips of this, and I'm already starting to get kind of like burned out on it because it's so much, so rich, just too many rich and deep flavors, right? It's just, I don't know, it's a bit too much for me. So it's not overly sweet, but it is sweet. I'd say like it's like 60, 40%, 65, 35% like sweetness to dryness, because there isn't any bitterness here for me. It's more of a dry kind of feeling if you want to compare the two. Decently carbonated, like I said. 8.6%. Hides the alcohol extremely well in the palate. Big warming in my chest. Like I feel it even going down the stomach. Like I just feel warm from it. But it's not as strict on the palate. This is a pretty good representation of what they're going for. If you told me this is a French toast Imperial Ale, I'd be like, yeah, it is. Even get some vanilla. Yeah, it's good. What's going to stop me from getting this a pretty high rating and just getting a good to very good rating is the fact that I'm going to have trouble finishing the rest of that, and I couldn't drink more than a bottle, 100%. So this would be like you buy a 4-pack and you drink one like every month, and that's it. And by springtime, you're like, I don't want any more of that. So anyway, let's read the side, and then I'll rate it. It says, toasted caramel notes, sure. Blend into flavors of maple syrup, yes. Vanilla, cinnamon, you betcha. And nutmeg. Didn't you really get nutmeg, but you know, if you put cinnamon, nutmeg in your French toast, then yeah, sure, maybe you get nutmeg. While milk sugar creates a creamy, sweet balance to complex malt bill. What did I say? It wasn't really creamy, but it was smooth. So whatever. It says, this brunch-inspired brew will remind you of that first delicious bite of French toast. That last sentence, spot on. Yeah, I pretty much agree with them to a certain extent. I don't think the mouthfeel is necessarily creamy, and I'm not getting nutmeg, but like, as is, it's pretty good. So, French toast, the Imperial Ale from Southern Tier. I have absolutely no issue giving this beer right here. We'll go high 4 out of 5. We'll go 4.05 out of 5. I think that's the best I can do for this. I think this gets into the 4.25 range. If it's just not too rich. I mean, again, I took maybe a half dozen sips at this point after this next sip. And it's one of those beers where it's like, I would love to split that with somebody. It's a 12 fluid ounce bottle. I would love to split that with somebody. That'd be a perfect splitting beer. Hey, let's sit down. We each get 6 ounces. It's kind of like, remember earlier when I talked about dessert? Like, this is dessert. But I think it's too much dessert. And it's not because it's overly sweet. It's just too rich. It's just too decadent of a beer for that purpose, at least in my opinion. Now, if you've had this one before, come to the comment section, say, hey, I disagree with you. I think it's perfect. I think I love it. Or hey, I think this beer is horrible and I hate it. Because there's gonna be a lot of varying opinions on this. If you watch this, I would love to know yours. Beer's subjective, so I'd love to hear from everybody and know what they feel about a beer. But for me, this is definitely a one and done beer for me. And if I bought a 4-pack of this, it would definitely take me a couple months to drink it. Price point availability. Price point, I bought this in a mixed 6-pack at Wegmans, so it was $12.99 for a 6-pack, but they did have 4-packs. They were $13.99 a 4-pack. I know a lot of people say some of these beers, like the Nitro Blackwater series beers, are more expensive. So if you did buy this, what did you pay for a 4-pack in your neck of the woods? And then availability, it's Southern Tier. You should see this sometime in the winter. I do know a couple places here in the Western New York area, this beer's been out for like almost a month, and they said the distributors were the ones to blame because they just haven't moved it out of the warehouse yet. And you see that a lot from a lot of bigger breweries where distributors sit on a beer for a month, maybe 2, and then they finally move it out. And it's just like, yeah, that was cool. That was a seasonal 2 months ago. What are you doing? So hopefully everybody sees this sometime in January so you can try it. I can't wait to get my hands on the peanut butter cup. I think that's going to be more my speed, but we will see. Anyway, again, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. 8.6%. I think they did a pretty good job hiding the ABV, although there's a big warming in the chest. I love that there's no astringency on the palate. So if you're afraid of like a big boozy French toast, not necessarily that. But if that sounds appealing to you, it's also not that. So anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Stop by next week for another Western New York Wednesday, or maybe a whodunit. I got a couple whodunits still in the fridge left over from 2022 that I got to get to at some point. So we'll see. I don't know. Cheers.